Hi and welcome to my weekly outlook. This is Kim speaking on Monday the 29th of January. So let's look at the fundamentals before we look at the technicals. Some key numbers really, key things I'm looking at this week. I'm not going to go into the individual everything detail here. Just watch out for these I say majors, but the key speakers. We've got Carney speaking tomorrow afternoon, addressing the Lords. Maybe some volatility around that. We've got President Trump speaking. I'm sure we'll get some volatility kicking around that. His address there. Non-farm payrolls, ADP, we'll probably get a bit of volatility, but more likely the bigger figure that we're seeing there is the FOMC statement. Not expected any changes, expected to be left alone, but the changes may come in the statement itself, so that's the significant factor there. So maybe look for, we'll be looking for any changes in that statement, but in terms of expectations, I want them too high. A couple of manufacturing data numbers there and construction numbers on Thursday running into Friday, which will create volatility on the individual basis. But then, of course, we've got the more significant, it's been watched for some time, is the non-farms. Now, it's softening in its effect a little bit, but inflation is still key. So there will be a lot of emphasis, but based on the figure I've just scrubbed out there, but the hourly earnings figures as opposed to the unemployment rate, which is a very significant low there. Okay, so that's the fundamentals out the way. Technically, well, this is a monthly chart of the euro I'm looking at first here. We've pushed up into the monthly 200, just pitching short of the monthly 100, which is still facing south. I mean, the 200, you see it's curled around a little bit. It's had a little bit less effect. Are we going to carry on pushing? Just looking a little bit on the sentiment of the larger traders, and well, the non-commercial positions are still pushed up a little bit. Last week we see it dip a little bit, pushed up back towards the record highs last week. So the bigger players are still looking on the more bullish side of things here. As I said, with that FOMC report this week, it may not slow the euro's run down too much, but well, of course, Trump's got to speak before then, and he knows how to slow things down. Anyway, so looking like that the bigger players are still going with the trend, still pushing and still bullish. There is a bit of divergence kicking across on the weeklies on the euro, which some may be looking to trade a little bit more, but the strength in the dailies is still there. No divergence is sitting across those. If we do sell off a little bit more, we came short of actually I think we may have hit a couple of hourly figures I was looking at earlier this morning. They may be ticked off now for the euro and the pound, but if we do come a little bit shorter here, we could be heading down towards the 21, maybe a bit more. I mean, it may have a bigger correction here if we see anything happening. We are just on some analysis I'm looking at. We just reached the upper part of the cloud there last week with those highs there, so that in itself may for those people that trade the cloud formations, etc., that may well be a short-term top at least. But if it starts breaking higher, breaking out of here, I just see the trend continuing. Okay, looking at the pound. Pound seems to be wanting to push and push. Monthly basis first again. Well, it's pushing up towards its monthly 50 at the moment. Decent strong move at what we're seeing there weekly wise. Strong move last week. I mean, whether this is the sort of well, certainly we've seen a bit of a pullback here. So just running out of legs a little bit, and the steepness of this move already just found its daily 8. Now it's bounced off that. As I said with the euro, I think it's also bounced. Well, I certainly know it's bounced off the 60-50 and a couple of other moving averages sitting across here for hourly. 4 hourly 50, 60, 200 even is bounced off as well. So significant moving averages that it's sort of bouncing off at the moment. If it breaks back through that through the Asian session tomorrow, well, I'd then be looking back down towards that 21 and support around that sort of area. At the moment though, I'd prefer to be on the bullish side of these markets, but intraday things may change as we, as I say, move through the week here. Dollar yen, let's come back up the picture a little bit here and look at the bigger picture and the monthlies first. And well, it's broken the wedge. It's still, of course, a live month here at the moment, but it currently broke outside, broken the wedge that I drew, the trend lines I drew on that wedge. So weekly wise, broken the trend. Seeing a bit of a retracement. The momentum looks pretty strong there still from a daily perspective. Yes, we're outside of the R3s. It may just, for all these markets where they're outside the R3s or S3, sorry, this is S3, they may just pop back in. Its probabilities are quite high that they end up closed inside, but we'll see how it pushes through tomorrow. Weekly pivot still above on the yen, and there's possibly some other bigger daily targets there. Hasn't been back to the 8 for quite some time, so daily 8, and maybe we'll see a push up further. But strong Friday there. It's been stronger to the downside than some of the markets on a daily basis. When the euro and the pound was struggling last week, it did manage to carry on pushing us through, in particularly on Friday there. So I do wonder if we'll see a continued shove at some point, but as I say, these markets have to breathe a bit. Aussie dollar, come out to the monthly picture first. Just looking through now, we've sort of been pushing and pushing, and it's just back into those prior monthly highs there. I say as I'm on a monthly chart, it's got the potential it'll break outside of this, above this monthly 200. At the moment, it's a bullish sort of end to last week there. Again, quite stretched when you start coming down to the dailies there. Quite a steep but nice clean move up there. It's every day it's had a little retrace, but it's fought some divergence on some different time frames. But it's each time it's shoved up, so it still may be a case of buying into dips. That said, the daily 8's been tested a couple of times. If it comes back to that, maybe next time it will just roll a little bit further and need a bit more of a correction, but certainly erring on the bullish side. And I would say the commitment of traders, when I'm looking through their reports for the pound and the yen and the Aussie dollar on each case, there's more sort of buying into these currencies and selling of the dollar. Okay, finally Aussie dollar. Let's finally look at the Canadian dollar. Much bittier one. It's struggled at times. Price of oil's helped it, I would have thought, but it's not necessarily been as strong as I thought it would have been at times with that in mind. But just working its way off the monthly 21s last month. It's pushed on down here again. I'd sort of drawn a previous trend line there, which it broken and pulled back within. This time it looks like it may be selling off some more. Momentum's just crossed here, getting stronger maybe to the downside, but quite choppy on these sort of daily bars. When you come through to the daily bars, it's quite choppy. Lot of price action side by side, making it not necessarily the easiest and cleanest one to day trade, but certainly bigger picture at the moment, it does still err towards the bearish side. Okay, that's it pretty much technically, or just have a quick look at gold as I if I can find gold quick enough. There we go, just get the right one, and just pulled a bigger picture of that, because gold itself has been pushing up and it's getting towards I'm looking at a monthly again here, and it's sort of moving back, and actually it's now, I'm just looking at the shoulders of those previous bars. It's now hit those, and it's not too far off of the highs of July 16. So had a decent shove up. Let's just come down to the weeklies here, and still looking relatively bullish at the moment. It sort of had a good strong move over the last few weeks, and well, again though, it's softened a little at the moment. Hit the weekly pivot. It's through, it's or just sitting on the 8 there. Maybe if we see a break of that in the next day or two, we could see it retrace back towards that 21 a little bit more. As I said, the markets may be a bit unsettled with FOMC on Wednesday. Right, that's pretty much it for me. There's nothing else here. One thing to remind you, we got the weekender. Got the 2-day course. Just to remind you that we're holding this in the Heathrow Hotel. It's Sunday. He knows what dates it's on. It's a Sunday the 10th and 11th of March for 2 days, full immersion. So no distractions looking at charts, because we'll be just looking at what's going on at the time and talking about the particular subjects. So make sure you book your place. I look forward to seeing you there for those that wish to attend. And for all other matters, have a great week. Bye for now.